Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paige and this is my channel Being Paige, where I talk about minimalism, veganism, spirituality, have yoga and meditation videos, and I just love talking about my lifestyle. Some people may think that my lifestyle is a little alternative, you know, depends on what we're talking about. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this channel, was just to share different ways of living and why I do the things I do. And before I begin this video, I just wanted to say, if you do like my content or are looking forward to seeing more, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps grow my channel. I know I'm still a small channel and I've put a lot of effort into this, and I would love to have more engagement and just make more friends, because I know there's people out there like me. I'm not alone. So in this video, I wanted to talk about planning an ethical and vegan wedding. So it's been a while since I actually got married. I got married last year, 12/11/21. And the only reason I picked that date was because it's a palindrome, and I know palindrome. I just knew that was the only way I was going to remember it. I am not the best with dates. I have a calendar where I have to write everything down because I will forget or get confused. And I literally have a note on my phone for everyone's birthday, because I forget birthdays. I've literally forgotten my own birthday only because I got confused with, maybe I'm dyslexic, I don't know, but I got confused with the numbers. That's when me and Brian got married, and I've had this idea for this video for such a long time, I just haven't gotten around to it. So here I am, and I'm so excited to share this with you. If you're interested in planning a wedding, or you're not even engaged but looking into planning a wedding, especially one that is vegan and eco-friendly and ethical and conscious, then this is a perfect video for you. I'll also have a link down below in the description box, my article where you can find more information, including all the links that I will have in that blog post / article at my website. If you haven't already checked out my website, please check it out. I have a couple blog posts there already, and I will be adding more to it, so stay tuned. So when it comes to planning a wedding, obviously you have to sit down with your soon-to-be partner, life partner, marriage partner, soulmate partner, whatever you want to call them, and figure out what is the most important things for you to have for your wedding. Every wedding should be as unique and different as needed, because we're all different and unique, right? So even though there's like this idea of what weddings look like, I think you really have to figure out what will make it your own and what matters to you, what you prioritize. Weddings aren't cheap. That's already the truth, and I knew going into that weddings weren't going to be cheap. So I really wanted to make this occasion be something that me and Brian, my husband, would really treasure, and something that was special to us, and just, you know, an occasion where we can share in this excitement with our friends and our family. And it was something that was really important for me to have our family and friends come together, especially because of the pandemic and the fact that some of my family members weren't able to meet Brian's family members. I just knew that we needed to have some kind of like wedding, to be able to almost like bridge that gap, just because we're not only blending families, but we're blending cultures, since me and Brian are very cool, not very culturally different, but we have, yeah, just differences in our family and the ways of doing things, which I think is beautiful. And that's what I love about, you know, us, and how unique our story is of how we even met and how we're still together again. If you're interested in learning about how we met, that's also a great story, and I should make a video about that. But if you're interested and you want to know, comment down below and I will potentially make another video. So the first thing was finding a location. This one was quite hard because damn, you know, like, venues are expensive, and so I really wanted someplace outside, and I know, yeah, it was in December, so granted, in California, we have the luxury of being able to have outdoor weddings, even in December, although it was colder, but I really wanted to have an outdoor wedding. So I researched a couple places online that I found where you can like rent people's backyards or rent venue spaces for a ceremony or reception for pretty good prices, I would say. And maybe this was just because of the pandemic, but I ended up finding somebody who I knew through a mutual friend who was renting out their backyard, and it just so worked. So I worked with this person and was able to rent out his backyard for an amazing price. I really think that saved us in the long run, like in terms of budgeting. So grateful for him and for that space. I'll be putting photos throughout this video so you guys can see kind of things. I don't have any video footage because I did not get a videographer for that day, but I did get a photographer who happened to be a friend, which was great, and she got amazing photos. Shout out to Abby. You did an amazing job. I love the photos. So as you can see in the venue, it was just gorgeous. It had this like feel to it that words just don't do justice. And I love trees. I love nature. I love being out. I love being like almost supported and yet grounded and secure in a location, and that place totally provided it. But if you are looking for a place and don't have friends or families that you could ask, then I would suggest going on to different websites and finding, you know, places, venues in your area. I will link some below in that blog post. These are websites that I, you know, looked at too, and granted, I found pretty good prices when I did look for my location, so that was a good thing. I also want to say too that I wouldn't, at least in my opinion, I don't stress too much about the location, because I knew that it wasn't the location that I was like selling people, if that makes sense. It was more of the experience. Like, I wanted to focus on creating an amazing experience, and yeah, that location was part of it, but at the same time, I didn't feel like people were gonna leave harping on the location, but rather the experience. The fact that we did get an outdoor venue, because that's one that I had wanted all along, we saved money on decor, because if you think about it, you're using a beautiful backdrop that you don't need to embellish anymore. Like, granted, we did have some decorations here and there, especially for like the welcome table and obviously the place settings and the dining tables, but really the beauty of the trees, especially during sunset, was just like beautiful. That helped with us saving money on decor. So next up is food. So for this, I knew already who I was gonna use, and me and Brian happen to have a friend who used to own a vegan restaurant and now does vegan catering and vegan pop-ups, and we loved her food. She had already done our friend's wedding that summer before, so we knew we were gonna call on her. It was great. Honestly, the one thing that people still talk about in terms of our wedding is the food. And most of the people there, like 95% of the people there, weren't vegan. How cool is that? That alone was just such a warming feeling in my heart that I could share my love of vegan food, that me and Brian, which is, being vegan is so important to us in our lifestyle, that we could share that with our family and friends, you know, was just meant so much. And I'm so grateful for this friend to be able to cater for our wedding. We wanted food that people would recognize and be able to enjoy. I don't have a lot of pictures of the food, but the menu was pretty simple, and again, like, a lot of people really like the food. So my advice to finding a vegan caterer, since obviously if you're vegan and you want to have a vegan wedding, maybe research online just to see if there's any people in your area. Go on Yelp. Another thing that might work is Happy Cow. If you don't have the app, you can always use the website. You may be able to find people who do own storefronts, or, you know, restaurants that do catering on the side, or just people that do catering or pop-ups, and just ask around, or maybe ask other vegans in your area depending on where you live. But if you are in the LA County or broader counties like Orange County, San Bernardino County, or Inland Empire, and you're looking for a vegan caterer, hit up my friend. I'll link her website also in the blog post, but her name's Christine and she's amazing. Shout out to Christine. Also, your food, prime. And if for any reason you can't find a fully vegan caterer, just make sure you work with that person, and communication, I'd say, is key in terms of making a menu that is palatable and something that you'll enjoy and that your guests will enjoy. And sometimes all it takes is educating caterers, or even if it's like a venue that already is included, that includes the catering, just work with that person, the chef or whoever. Let them know what's vegan, let them know what's not vegan, and make sure that, you know, y'all on the same page so that you can have a vegan wedding if that's what you want. Okay, so now on to decor. So like I said before with the location, using that location, as you can tell by the photos, it was just gorgeous already. We didn't need much decor. But my suggestion for you, if you're trying to save money, because again, I wasn't trying to plan a super expensive and elaborate wedding. I wanted something that was cost efficient. OfferUp is a great place. If you don't know what it is, it's an app where you can buy and sell items, usually secondhand. I was able to get quite a few things on there that were super cheap. Believe it or not, this one lady who was selling some wedding stuff found out that I was also paying for a wedding, and through the kindness of her own heart, she gave me that stuff for free because she knew how expensive planning wedding was and felt for me. And I thought that was like the sweetest thing ever, you know? So I really appreciated that. And I ended up selling some more things on OfferUp after, things that I didn't use or just things that we had like leftovers of, because I wanted it to, you know, go back. And I sold it for a really cheap price. It wasn't even a matter of getting money for it, but also just giving it to people who really needed it for their weddings. My other suggestion for this would also be to buy things that have dual purpose. So if you're already going to pay for something that you're going to use for your wedding, why not pay for something that you're going to be able to use after your wedding? So certain things might be useful, especially if you're not getting rentals. So like think dinnerware, and in terms of decor, like things that you could see in your own home. Luckily, all the dinnerware was included in our rentals, so I didn't have to worry about that because I had an amazing wedding planner, which I highly recommend getting a wedding planner. But everything else, the little things, I just was able to buy either an OfferUp or like Hobby Lobby or Target, and still save money that way. Let's move on to dress. So for my dress, I had an idea in mind for what I wanted to wear. And again, I wasn't a traditional bride. This was not a traditional wedding, mind you. I say wedding, but there was no vows. There was no ceremony. It was more just like a reception. And that's really what I wanted, just with food, laughter, fun. So I would say my dress was like the best purchase I made for the wedding. And I found it on OfferUp. Get this, it was $50 on OfferUp. And this dress retailed for like over $100. And I spent the extra money to get it altered because it was quite long. Yeah, all in all, amazing purchase. I think that dress was just perfect for me and my personality, but also for the venue. I'd never seen a dress like it, and I got so many compliments on that dress. And I actually sold it to someone else on OfferUp after. I didn't have any problems parting with the dress. Again, it was just like I wanted to give it back to somebody else. I love that dress. I'm still thinking about it right now. And then in terms of hair and makeup, I was researching online. If you don't know this about me, I research everything. I love researching. I love learning. But I was researching online for somebody local who did use vegan and cruelty-free makeup. And I found one person. They were so expensive. I just couldn't justify paying that much, especially because I'm not really somebody who's into, you know, a full face, hair all done up. I'm simple. I'm just, you know, more on the natural side, which I don't mind. But I couldn't justify that. And so I ended up just deciding to go with a family friend. And she did an amazing job with my hair and makeup. Instead of letting her just use whatever product she had, I ended up buying all the things that I wanted to use that I knew was going to be cruelty-free and most importantly, vegan. And I just ended up researching places. I think it was Target. Yeah, because I had a Target gift card. Again, doing it on the cheap. I researched all the products at Target that were vegan and cruelty-free and bought everything that I needed. I ended up getting some vegan cruelty-free hairspray from a vegan hairdresser who I knew it worked out, and I still was able to use the makeup after, which I rarely use because I don't really wear makeup, but that felt good to be able to use those products. I would show the products now, but I don't have most of them. But I will link a website where you can find vegan and cruelty-free products. And it's always changing, so just whenever you do decide to have a wedding, just do your research and figure out what products at that time are and where you like to buy them from, whether it's like Sephora, Ulta, Target, online, you know, whichever works for you. And who knows, if you don't want to wear makeup or do your hair, that's totally fine too. You do you, girl. So, quick note with my shoes, I purchased these really cute like burnt orange booties from Ross that were like, I don't know, $40, $30-40. And I just knew that that's what I wanted to wear with the dress, with the color scheme. And I still use those booties to this day and I love them. So again, purchase things for the wedding that you can use after, because then you'll save more money and you can extend the use of items instead of having things just be like one-time use, which I never understood about weddings, because like people spend so much money on weddings to only use things for one time, and I don't get it. There's so much like wedding etiquette and things that people don't really question about weddings, which no, I question everything. So yeah, I'm not going to do things just because everyone else does them, which is why a lot of things I purchased have dual purposes, and that works for me. Okay, moving on. So wedding favors. I went back and forth. I was like, do I really want to give wedding favors? Is that just something that like people do because they feel bad to not do, you know? I don't know. But I ended up figuring out a great idea, and I hope someone else does this idea too. I'm sure people do, but it's just like a win-win on both sides. So I volunteered at a lot of different animal sanctuaries, and there's one in particular that makes soaps. So their website is called Clean Punk Soaps, and I will also again link it, so that check out the article below in the description box to get all these links. So Clean Punk Soaps, they make these soaps, and all the proceeds obviously go back into the sanctuary, and they're vegan, cruelty-free soaps. So you're not only getting the soaps, but you're supporting an animal sanctuary. It's like, again, best of both worlds. So I had the owner of the sanctuary who I knew. I asked her, can you do soaps like as wedding favors? Have you ever done that before? And she was super down to help out. She ended up making mini soaps, and every single one of the soaps had like a little message. I wish I had a picture, but we didn't get a picture. Every one of the soaps came in a little baggie, like a little mesh string bag. They had the soap, and there's different kinds, different scents, and they had a little description basically describing one of the animals that are at their sanctuaries, that is at their sanctuary, and the story of that animal. And I thought that was so cool. It was so personalized and so just like touching. Those were the wedding favors. Everyone went home with a soap and a little message, and just I love the fact that I can raise awareness about an animal sanctuary, especially one that's like dear to my heart. So that was really cool, and I love that I can not only support the sanctuary with my money going towards the soaps. Now people know about the sanctuary, know about, you know, their soaps, read about a story of one of the animals that came to their sanctuary. Like I said, I'll link their website below, but if you know of any local sanctuaries, depending on where you live, maybe work with them and see if there's a way that you can still donate money to them, or figure out a product that you guys can use to give out as a favor so that the money goes back into the sanctuary, and you're doing a great job of raising awareness for sanctuaries. So yeah, that's definitely my suggestion. I was also looking at some wedding favors on Etsy, specifically vegan ones. I can't even remember now which ones I was looking at, but in the end, the cost was just going to be too high, so I didn't go with that. But if you go on Etsy and just type in like wedding favors vegan, you'll find a lot of different things, and if anything floats your boat, then by all means buy that. So moving on to the ring. It's the last thing I want to talk about. I actually have an engagement video I did a while back, and that explained the ring and how I came to find the ring. This is the ring, if you can't see. Super simple. So this ring is from Olivia Marr, and what I loved about Olivia Marr and her brand is that she still has a high value for elegance, but wants to marry that basically with conscious jewelry and ethical jewelry, which is a huge thing because most people don't realize how jewelry is mined and how it comes to be formed like rings. I actually did an article for Peaceful Dumpling about this and just dive deep into the world of diamonds and rings, and I'll link that below. It's just mind-boggling how we place so much emphasis on rings, like our engagement rings, and they're ridiculous amounts of money, at least that's my opinion, but we don't really think about how they came to be, and I just couldn't see myself wearing a diamond ring because I'm not that kind of person, and B, I just couldn't see myself or see Brian supporting any kind of industry that continues inflicting cruelty on people, animals, and the planet. So when I was researching rings, I came across Olivia Marr and her website and her brand, and I fell in love with her jewelry. Her jewelry is super minimalistic and simple, and yet so elegant and so striking, and I yeah, just from a visual standpoint, I loved her rings, but then learning about her story and how she cares so much for crafting rings that don't include cruelty and violence is amazing. And I wish more companies like hers really cared about this thing. You know, it's not like I'm not supporting a huge company. I'm supporting an individual who has such a huge passion for this thing, and she's been able to create this beautiful company and brand now based off of providing something like rings and jewelry of such a powerful message because they aren't made, you know, unethically. And yeah, I love this ring. It's tanzanite. I think it's tanzanite. Oh my God, I already forgot. I love stones, and the meaning of tanzanite was just so special for that moment in my life that I got it. So I love it. And yeah, the band is, I want to say copper, which I think copper gets like a bad rap, but I actually like how warm the tone is. Normally wear my ring all the time. I'm not a person who needs to wear a ring to like feel like I'm married or anything. You know, it's just more for the feeling of having a beautiful stone on my finger. I guess somehow symbolizes my marriage to Brian. I don't really believe in that. And I don't know, maybe sometimes I feel like, you know, why aren't you like traditional, Paige? Why don't you care about those things, Paige? But that's just not me, and I'm not gonna force myself. So I decided just to stick with a simple ring like this. Brian actually bought his own wedding ring, which is like the symbol of elements, I think, from Naruto, which is an anime, I think. See, I don't even know what his ring's about. That's the story behind the ring. What's really cool about her brand is that if you purchase any of your jewelry, a tree will be planted in your honor, because why not plant more trees? Maybe just ask yourself, like, what does a ring symbolize for you? What is important about wearing a wedding ring? It's not important. Don't feel like you have to have a ring, or you have to have a partner who spends a lot of money for a ring, because that money can go to so many other great things. I don't feel the need to show my status based off of what I own or what I wear. That might be different for many people, and that's okay, you know? But that's just how I feel. And again, I won't support an industry or business that continues to be unethical. So I hope this video was kind of helpful. I know it was a longer video. Thank you for staying with me if you got this far. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can always comment down below or email me. Planning a wedding isn't always the easiest or funnest. Let's just be real, it can be stressful, and I'm very much aware of that, having gone through it myself. Planning a wedding that is not only vegan but ethical is totally doable, and it can totally work with any budget. So don't feel like you have to stress out about that, because there are options. And that's why I made this video, to make sure that y'all know that it's doable.